Hello, I am Dr. John Curry, and I will be presenting to you a speech by Willie Lynch, a master slave trainer, in the year of 1712. Gentlemen, I greet you here on the banks of the James River in the year of our Lord 1712. First, I shall thank you, the gentlemen of the colony of Virginia, for bringing me here. I am here to help you solve some of your problems with the slaves. Your invitation reached me on my modest plantation in the West Indies, where I have experimented with some of the newest and still oldest method for controlling slaves. Ancient Rome would envy us if my program is implemented. As our boat sailed south on the river, named after our illustrious king, whose version of the Bible we cherish, I saw enough to know that your problems is not unique. While Rome used carts of woods across and standing human bodies along its old highways in great numbers, you are here using the tree and the rope on occasion. I caught a whiff of a dead slave from a tree a couple of miles back. You are not only losing valuable stock by hanging, you are having uprising. Slaves are running away. For your crops are now left in the field too long for maximum profit. You suffer occasional fires. Your animals are killed. Gentlemen, you know what your problems are. I do not need to elaborate. I am here to introduce you to a method of solving them. In my bag, I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee everyone that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple, and members of your families or any overseers can use it. I have outlined a number of differences among the slaves, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. These methods have worked on my modest plantation in the West Indies, and it will work throughout the South. I take the simple little list of differences. Think about them. On top of my list is age, but it is there only because it starts with an A. It is not there because it starts with an A. The second is shade or color. There is intelligence, size, sex, size of plantation, status on plantation, attitudes of owners, whether the slave live in the valley or on the hill, east, west, north, south, have fine hair or coarse hair, tall or short. Now that you have a list of differences, I shall give you an outline of action, but before I do that, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. The black slave, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling for generations, for hundreds, and maybe thousands of years. Don't forget, you must pitch the old slave versus the young black slave. You must pitch the young black male slave against the old black male slave. You must use the dark-skinned slave versus the light-skinned slave, the light-skinned slave versus the dark-skinned slave. You must also have your white servants and overseers trust. All the slaves must trust the white overseers and servants. But it's necessary that they trust and depend on us. They must love, respect, and trust only us. Gentlemen, these are the kits that you must use in order to control the slave. Use them. Have your wives, your children use them. Never miss an opportunity. My plan is guaranteed. And the good thing about this plan, if it's used intensely for 1 year, the slaves will be perpetually distrustful towards each other. Thank you, gentlemen. The speech of Willie Lynch, the master slave trainer. Now, what I would like to do is to break the speech down. Breaking down the speech of Willie Lynch. He greets them with a salutation, greetings. Then he goes to the word install correctly. The word install means to place or fix in a position for ready use. The effect will last from 300 to 500 years, and he went on to say maybe thousands. So Willie Lynch got the slave masters together and began to poison the slaves' minds, which I call the letter called the curse of Willie Lynch. He used the word install. That means to put into something. It means to place or fix in a position for ready use. The effect would last 300 to 500 years and maybe thousands. The method he used was fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. Let me say that again. The method, fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. He wanted the slave to fear him and to have distrust towards others, the other slaves, and to have envy towards the other slaves. And that's the same tactic he's using today. He wants us as black people who happen to live in America to be fearful of him. And this is why he loves murder and mayhem. And this is why he loves walking with guns, AK-47, 9mm. He wants to put fear in our heart as black Africans. And I say to all black Africans in the diaspora, be it all over the world, 240 million strong, I say to you, don't be afraid. God is on your side. I say to you, hold your head high, stick your chest out, because in the end, we're going to win again because God is on our side. But he want to use fear. He want us to be distrustful for one another. He want us to envy one another. Then he lists differences. He used the word age. Why would he use age? Because we're in a conundrum now where our young folks don't want to listen to the older folks, so he wanted a schism there. You see, the old slaves could tell the young slaves how to manipulate the system and how to get what they want. But if he got distrust and differences with the old versus the young, it keeps us disjointed. It keeps us apart from one another. Then he went on and says, use the color or shade. And that's simple colorism. Back during the days of the 1400s, long before white people came on the scene, say around 1400s, maybe 1300s, after the 31 dynasties, they show up. That's when they began to start colorism. The lighter the skin tone, the greater the privilege. And that's when they came together and they began to call upon themselves as being white. And then they pulled together in 1884 at the Brussels Berlin Conference of the Congo, you had more than 8, 9 different nations that came together who decided that they was going to carve up Africa. And while carving up Africa, they was going to use and promote white supremacy under the umbrella of eugenics. And with the eugenics theory, white supremacy, the system of white supremacy, went global all over the world. And while going global, they ran into a young man by the name of Jesse Owens. Adolf Hitler was in the stands watching, I believe, the 1936 Olympics. And he was promoting a white supremacy master race. And you know the story. Jesse Owens went and won 4 gold medals. And the question was asked to Hitler, what do you think of your master race now? Adolf Hitler replied and said, it is not fair. The reporter asked him, what you mean it's not fair? He said, it is not fair for humans to run with animals. So you see, colorism has always been used to divide us as black people and as part of the world to hate us as black people. Then he goes and uses intelligence. Intelligence. That simply means that if you got a GED and you know somebody with a PhD, the one with the PhD should not feel any better than you, because if he black and you black, you both are being attacked. So we should not fall in line to believe what they say about us. We should not become the upper crust bourgeois G's Negroes that thinking we're better because we got a job. Thinking we're better because we live in a better place. Thinking we're better because we're in the suburbs. Thinking we're better because we drive a nice car, live in a nice home, got some education. When you get through with all of what you got, you drive down the street. Don't forget, you still black. And you will be attacked by this racist white man. So he tried to use intelligence to divide us against intelligence. He tried to use size and sex. The taller you are, the better you are, the shorter you are, you're nothing. But that's not how we're supposed to operate as black people. It's not so much about our size or about our sex. I think our black women need to be black women. I think our black men need to be black men. I think we need to love each other. I think we need to support each other. Just like the WNBA right now that are supporting the black players in the NBA. Black men and black women are coming together on one cause, and that's loving each other as we battle through this struggle of racism in America continuously. But they're trying to use sex. They're trying to say the black woman is too mean and too angry. They say the black man is too passive, and what they really want, they want the black man to be walking around in dresses and the black woman to be walking around in pants. What they really want is unisexualization. They love for us to dog each other out. But we need black men to stand up and be black men. We need black women to maintain your femininity and be black women. You still can play ball. You still can do the stuff that you want to do. We don't need black women trying to be men, and we don't need black men trying to be women. That's all a part of their plan to produce unisexualization. And when unisexualization comes in, it reduces our population. So they want black men and black women fighting against each other. Then they want us having us looking at the size of plantation. Remember, I'm giving you the breakdown of the letter of Willie Lynch, the size of plantation. Somebody worked for IBM, somebody worked for Amazon, and somebody cut grass. And they want you to think that what you're doing is better than the person that cut grass. No, it's no better. Because when you leave your workplace, you're still black. We have to love those that we think are not at our level. And then we have to pull those up, those black folks, pull them up to where we think they should be. The size of your plantation is America. Just in case you didn't know it, you live on plantation America. That's where all black folks live in this part of the diaspora. Nothing. I don't see nothing that has truly changed. We're still finding our black brothers and sisters hanging from trees 2020. They was hanging from trees in the early 1900s. We still find it's difficult to vote. Why? Because it was difficult to vote back then. You know, some of us get happy. Well, it's time to vote, but is it really working? Right now, you're going to have to vote for 2 different slave masters, a Democrat or a Republican. And you're thinking if you get one, it's better than the other. But you have to remember, as I said before many times, 2 voices, 1 face, white supremacy. The only way you know we're no longer in white supremacy is when the white man will do what he's supposed to do, and that's pay us our reparation and get out of our way. So it doesn't matter your size of the plantation nor your status on the plantation. You got a good job, but you barely can drive home in your own neighborhood. Plantation America. It does not matter what you have obtained and what you've gotten over the years. You can lose it in a microsecond. You're living on Plantation America. Many times we get happy because we got different owners, the attitude of the owners. Remember that. Right now we got the NBA is scrambling. The owners of the NBA are scrambling, trying to appease the black athletes, trying to appease them when they have the power to be able to do some things with their politicians that they know of. When they have the power to be able to talk to governors and mayors and talk to presidents, they have the power to straighten this mess out. But the only way they're going to straighten it out is that we have to do a blackout, and that's just shut everything down. Buy black, think black, be black, love black, support black, and do everything concerning black. And if need be, we can start our own basketball league like we did before, the Negro Basketball League, the Negro Football League, the Negro Baseball League. We can do our own thing, but it'll be Black Basketball League, Black Baseball League, Black whatever we want to do, and stop depending on the white man to come and rescue us. He ain't coming. And when we get to that point and understand that, then we'll be able to do what we need to do so we can be who we need to be. It's important for us to understand that. So Willie Lynch's letter has a lot of nuggets in there to keep us confined and to keep us in control. Then you have the houseboy and the field hand. You know how, the Negro that spent a lot of time in the house with the massa. I believe Brother Malcolm X said it this way. Whenever the houseboy noticed that the white man was sick, the houseboy said, "Massa, we sick? We in pain, Massa? Massa, we coughing? Massa, we tired?" You see, the houseboy could not differentiate himself from the massa. He saw himself as a part of the massa. He was a lapdog. He was a lackey. He was a bootlicker. He saw himself as a part of the massa. So whenever the massa got sick, he was sick. But then on the other hand, you had the field hand, as Malcolm X continued that story. He said a field hand would pray the fact that if the massa's sick, he would pray that he died. Pray that he would die because the field hand was catching more problems than the houseboy. But we're in a time now where the houseboy and the field hand got to unite. We're in a time now where the coons and buffoons. We're in a time now where those Uncle Toms and Sambo got to come together. We're in a time now where we got to have one love, and that's Black Nation building time. So Willie continued to go on, and he was talking about if they live in the North or if they live in the South or if they live in the West, keep them divided. And what's going on today? We got Negroes hollering North Side, West Side, South Side. We got people screaming about what hood they belong in. South Central, East Coast, West Coast. This is all a part of dividing the black man from each other. Everybody in the world already know when the black man come together, there's no power on earth that can stop him. Everybody knows it but us. We continue to put each other down. We spend a lot of our time shooting one another in the major cities, St. Louis, East St. Louis, North Carolina, Atlanta, Jackson, Mississippi, Kenosha, Wisconsin. We're killing each other. New York, California, all of your major cities, we're killing each other. And the question is, why are we doing it? Because we have not learned how to love each other. You say, where are the drugs and guns coming from? They're coming from people that are trying to get you to wipe yourself out so they don't have to do it. We don't have drugs in our community. They're brought there. They're brought there by the upper echelon that want to fuse what we are doing to each other. You get mad at one another because somebody stepped on your shoes or somebody said something you didn't like. So instead of talking it out, you don't even fight it out. You shoot it out. No longer can we do that. No longer can we keep killing each other. There's a group that are bringing in drugs to your neighborhood. They're bringing them in right now. There are groups that are bringing in van loads of guns to your neighborhood, and you're buying them. You're buying the Glock. You're buying the AKs. You're buying the MAC-10. You're buying the 9mm. You're buying the 38, the 22. You're buying all of the guns. You're doing exactly what they want you to do. And what they want you to do, they want you to commit genocide on yourself. And they sit back and laugh at you. Clan members laugh at you. They say to each other, we don't have to kill them, just provide them with guns, and they will kill themselves. Why? Because we're still using distrust. We're still using envy. We're still using fear. We're killing each other because we have not yet learned to love each other as we need to love each other. So Willie Lynch went on to say, distrust is stronger than trust. Do you trust black people? Black people? And to the pastors and ministers and preachers and bishops, can you walk down the street 4 blocks from your church, north, south, east, and west? If you cannot do that, you may have some fear, you may have some distrust, and you just flat out may be afraid to be around your own people. The litmus test for black love is that you should never be afraid of your own people. Because when you do that, you're playing into Willie Lynch's spectrum. His spectrum is to get us to kill ourselves. He goes on and says, and envy is stronger than adulation, respect, or admiration. You should never envy your brother. We're all in this together. You should never envy your brother. Your brother has caught just as much hell as you caught. Your brother had to struggle to get out of high school, struggle to go to college, struggle to get a job, and struggling to keep the job. Last hired, first fired. Your brother is going through the same thing you're going through. Your brother is trying to start a business, but he can't get a business loan. Your brother is an inventor, but nobody won't give him the money, or he can't get the money to get his patent. Your brother is a genius, but you look at him as a dog because you don't understand his struggle. When you should understand his struggle, because his struggle is your struggle. His struggle is your struggle. If you're a black man in America, there's not a black man breathing that you should not understand what he is going through. But no, they want you to be envious of him. They want us to be envious of one another. They want us to put one another down. Why? Because they have indoctrinated us, many of us, into a slave mind. And you see, a slave mind cannot function in a free society. Let me say it one more time. A slave mind cannot function in a free society. Because even when you are made free, you don't know you're free. I believe it was Harriet Tubman that said these words. She said, I could have freed 1,000 more in the Underground Railroad, but I couldn't do it because they didn't realize they were slaves. And how many blacks live on this plantation America that could be freed by many of the men and women that have went before us? But many of us have gotten comfortable in our misery. We've gotten comfortable in our struggle. We've gotten comfortable being happy entertainment slaves. And as long as we get a cup of coffee and a donut, pat on the head and say, good job, we feel like we're striving and we're making progress. But I want to tell you, that's the first thought that the hamster on the wheel have when he first get on the wheel. He's running and running and running, and he think he's having fun, and he's thinking he's making progress. But after a while, he get tired and slow down and realize that he got a lot of movement, but he ain't going nowhere. And that's what happens to us as Africans who happen to live in America. And also the white man and those that have the plan of the white supremacist system love to put us in cool water. You swimming around in the cool water like the frog was doing. And the frog just kept swimming, but didn't know he was in the pot being cooked. And the more he swam in the cool water, those that have the control button would turn the heat up on him. And by the time he realized that he was being cooked, he tried to jump out the pot when the top came on him. So no longer can we be the hamster on the wheel nor a frog in the cool water. We have to make it up in our mind that we're going to strive and we're going to be the absolute best that we can be. And we're not going to be bound with the curse of Willie Lynch. So the old man, the old black male versus the young black male, I say to you, the young black male must receive the baton. And what is that baton? The baton is wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. You see, you need to know what the old black male went through. And when you want to pass on wisdom to you, you get the baton and you sprint in order to bring forth change. So he used dark skin against the light-skinned slave and have the light-skinned slave versus the dark-skinned slave. And all of this is a tactic. It's all designed to keep us divided. I don't care if you light, bright, almost white. If you got one drop of black blood in you, you black. And you can be dark as crystal black. You can be blue black. You can be jet black. Or you can be bright, almost white. You're still black. The rule is one drop of black blood makes you black. Well, why is that? Because the black man has the dominant gene. We are melanated people. Melanation. And if you want to know what the white man hates most, he hates your melanation. Because there's absolutely nothing he can do about it. That's why he's trying to kill you off. That's why he's trying to lock you up in prison. And that's why he's trying to get you to turn on yourselves. That's why he wants you to be in a unisexualization where you can produce no offseed. And as long as you're not producing, he's rising. But right now he's falling and he know it. And that's why he want to start a race war. He think by starting a race war, he can exterminate and flush out all the blacks and browns in America. Not knowing that a race war will basically plummet this country and America will not exist anymore. So those are some of his differences. But then he went on to the action plan. He said, have the white servants and overseers distrust all blacks. We're seeing that loud and clear today. Have the whites and overseers distrust all blacks. You can be driving up to your house and they want to see your papers. You remember I told you before that we have these paddy wagons riding in these paddy rollers riding in these paddy wagons checking for the slaves' paper. Those are police officers. Paddy rollers are cops. Paddy wagons is the cars they drive in. So we have these paddy rollers riding in these paddy wagons like they did on the slave plantation, checking for your papers. Can we see your license and registration? And if you don't have your license and registration, you got to comply or you may die. That's where we at right now. That's what I tell the young man in my program called the IPA Academy, training boys to become men, black boys to become men. I say you comply or you may die. Comply or you may die. And even after you comply, you still may die. Why? We live on plantation America. And until these masters change and change within their heart, this is how it's going to be. So I know you're getting happy to vote for Joe Biden and you don't like Donald Trump. And I get it. I understand it. But I still believe two voices, one face, white supremacy. We have to learn to take care of ourselves. We are human beings too. We live in America. America does not love us, never have loved us, and I don't know if she ever will love us. And the reason why I don't think that love is going to come anytime soon is because we have white, racist Christians who are the gatekeepers of white supremacy. They have not changed. They wear the label of Christianity, but their heart is the heart of wickedness. They are still preaching a white supremacy doctrine. That's what I said. They're still preaching a white supremacy doctrine. They have not yet learned to differentiate white supremacy and Christianity. They choose to blend them together. Why? They blend them together because they want their power. They feel the only way they can have power is try to manipulate Yeshua. Got Jesus as being white. Got God as being white. Got all the angels being white. The whole heavenly host white. In order to be able to trick us or to get our minds thinking that God, Jesus, and the angels was white. And anybody in the world that got any biblical sense knows that everything in the Bible came from Africa. First man, first woman, first family, first nation, and first builders of the ancient world black civilization were all black people. Everybody knows it. But the white man tried to manipulate it because he wants to be what he would never be. He hates us because he can't be us. And we have the dominant gene. God has blessed us with the melanin. And I will say to you, do your own study. Come to understand who you are as black people. And we must trust each other. We must begin to love each other, respect each other. We must be able to support each other. And no, the curse of Willie Lynch did not affect all of us. And somebody would say, well, how do you know? I know because right after Willie Lynch, so-called pronouncing the curse of controlling the slaves, there was at least 250 slave rebellion. You have the Stoner Rebellion, September 9th, 1739, where the colonies in the South, 25 whites was murdered. You have the Haitian Rebellion, 1791 to 1804. You have the Underground Railroad Movement, 1800 through 1865. 100,000 plus was free. You have the Nat Turner Rebellion, and that's August 21, 1831. You have the New York Slave Revolt. You have the German Coastal Uprising. You have Amistad on a slave ship. You have the Civil War era revolt. 1708, slaves were still rebelling. So you see, the so-called curse that was put on black people concerning Willie Lynch, we didn't pay attention to that mess. Some of us did, but a lot of us didn't. You see, the warrior that's on the inside of you gonna rise. So I say to my black brothers and sisters all over America and throughout the diaspora of the world, as well as on the continent of Africa, we are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We're just at our boiling point. We're not afraid of the white man. Never have been afraid of the white man, because on equal footing, the white man knows he doesn't have a chance. Let me say it again. We're not afraid of the white man. Never have been afraid of the white man, because the white man knows if we're on equal footing, he doesn't have a chance. It always takes at least 3, 4, 5 of them to lynch someone. They cannot come to a black man one-on-one. They're trying to put fear in us, as Willie Lynch said. They want us to be afraid of the white man. He walks down the street with guns. He tried to get us back into fear. But I say to you, to the black young men, black young women, stand up, hold your head up, and don't be afraid. We, as black people all over the diaspora, are not afraid. Hashtag that. We are not afraid. We're just asking God to come in before we have to spill out. You see, the time is up for white supremacy. The time is up for hate. And I call on the white pastors. I call on the white bishops. You need to drop your white supremacy flag, because God will hold you personally responsible for this so-called race war that President Donald Trump and all the far right and all the racist pastors and evangelicals, he's going to hold you responsible for it. But black people, hold your head high, stick your chest out, and know we are not afraid. We are not afraid, because on equal footing, we already know what we can do. I trust you can receive this. I trust you can receive the speech of Willie Lynch. I trust that you can receive the breakdown of that speech. This is about getting black people to love each other. We don't hate anybody, but you can only keep a dog in the corner for so long. You can only keep pushing people back for so long. You can only keep killing black men for so long, white folk. You can only keep telling us these same old generational lies for so long. We don't have time to talk to you about our struggle. You already know what you're doing to us. You already know how bad it is. Ain't no time to dialogue and what can we do to make this work. You already know what you need to do. So as a black pastor, a black Pan-African, I say to America, give us, or better than that, pay us our reparation. Give us the option to go back to Africa or stay in the United States, and then get out of our way. We can heal and build our own black nation. We can do it. We are not afraid. God bless. Until next time.